Used to rush to work and have no time for fun and spend half of my life on full highway.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Is this thing like too tall? Okay, that's better. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. I had an idea today. If you remember in my last vlog, I talked about wanting to learn how to make pasta this year. Last year it was sourdough bread. This year I want to just test out and experiment with making my own pasta. I've never done it before. So I have my vlogs and all that motherhood stuff, but I am really getting into learning to cook different things, learning to bake different things, just having food with cleaner ingredients. So I'm kind of thinking of starting like a little mini side series occasionally when the mood strikes me. Basically show you guys a recipe that I've learned that turned out really well, or something that I'm experimenting with for the first time like I am today. I've never made pasta before. This could be a total fail, but I'm kind of thinking it would just be fun to just get in the kitchen, experiment, and bring you guys along. So that's what this is. This is the first kind of installment of that. Juliana just woke up from her nap. She's over there watching Cocomelon and eating her lunch. So I'm gonna start the process of making this pasta dough, which according to where's my phone? I got this recipe from a website, or maybe it's like a blog called loveandlemons.com. Depending how this turns out, I will link the recipe down below so you can check it out yourself if it's something you're interested in. But basically the recipe is all-purpose flour, eggs, olive oil, and salt. And I think the biggest trick is in the technique of how you put all those things together. Oh, and here's a little kind of side bit of information. I do not have a noodle roller or whatever they're called, the thing that you put the dough through to make it like super thin. I don't have one of those, but so we're gonna go old school, way old school. I did check, I googled it to make sure it is something that is possible. No fancy equipment, just the ingredients, a rolling pin, and my hands. Okay, so first things first, I am gonna need my measuring cups. So it's gonna be 2 cups of flour that I'm basically just gonna kind of pour onto the counter and then create a little bit of like a space in the inside so that it's like a flour wall basically. And then just kind of want to create a little space. Why it has to be done this way, I don't know, but that is the technique, so we're going with it. Okay. So we're gonna add the eggs. This recipe calls for 3 eggs. Okay, it did overflow just a little bit, so I'm gonna just bring the flour wall up to kind of block any more spillage. Well, it's leaking out of the sides, but I don't think that should be too bad. Let me read the rest of this. So it says, add the eggs, olive oil, and salt to the center. So it needs half a teaspoon of sea salt, half a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I should have made a bigger little well thing there, but it's fine. So we're gonna break up the yolk. Use your hands to gently bring the flour inward to incorporate. Continue working the dough with your hands to bring it together into a shaggy ball. So now I get to go in with my hands and try to get this to become something that resembles dough. Yeah, my flour walls did not hold up the way they were supposed to. I should have made the that little hollowed out center portion of it a little bit bigger. Now I know for next time. Alright, it's starting to become something like a dough, but it's a little dry. It says if it gets a little dry to add a little water on your hands. Alright, I'm gonna wash off my hands really quick and grab my dough scraper. I love this thing so much. Really helps get any like dough that gets stuck to the counter. Okay, this takes a lot of elbow grease. It says that you want to knead the dough for like 8 to 10 minutes, which is a lot. Okay, so it is in its little ball. I kneaded this for several minutes, but the consistency seems like the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be smooth and soft, but you know, can stay intact like this. So according to the recipe, now I'm gonna wrap it in plastic wrap and let it sit at room temperature for 30 minutes before we continue on to the next step. Okay, so the dough has rested a little over 30 minutes, probably like 35 minutes. The recipe said to get like a cookie sheet or a baking sheet, whatever, and just lightly flour it. So I did that while this was resting, and then put this aside because once they're rolled out, you need somewhere to put them, and this is apparently where it's supposed to go afterwards. So, and before I open the dough, it said I need to flour the surface so it doesn't get sticky as I roll it out. Yes, baby. You might hear baby bum or whatever it's called on the TV in the background, so ignore that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do after taking the wrap off is it says you're gonna cut this into like 4 sections, kind of like that. And so they're gonna be like 4 little individual little pieces of dough, because you wanna roll them out in sections apparently. You can't just like do one big one. All right, so we have 4 individual pieces. All right, I'll put these aside for now. And we're gonna start with this first piece. This is the moment of truth to see if I can actually make this work. All right. So it says, oh, I'm supposed to put it on the top too, I forgot. You wanna put it on the top too, otherwise it's gonna do what you just saw and stick to the rolling pin. So flour the top. Okay, cool. And then you wanna roll it out. So the recipe kind of says to roll them all out. You put them in the baking sheet just to like have somewhere to put them as you roll them all out. I'm gonna go ahead and just start cutting these because I just want to kind of see what I'm working with. I don't even know what kind of noodles these are gonna be. I guess more like linguine, like they're gonna be kind of flat and a little wide. I don't know. I'm using a pizza cutter. You can use a knife, it says, but to me this is just a little bit of a smoother cut. These are the not so elegant looking noodles, but they work for the time being. So I think what I'm gonna do is just make sure they're separated. Oops. And I just looked over to my left and my daughter somehow got a hold. She took I just finished up like a coffee creamer container and I put it in the recycling, which was just basically a bag next to the garbage, and she pulled it out and now she is pouring whatever excess creamer she can find that she can get out of it into a little bowl on the floor. So that's fun, but I'm gonna let her do it because it will keep her busy while I finish this. All right, so they're all separated, they're rolled out. I'm gonna kind of roll them into like a little ball, like a little, just like that, so that I can transfer them to the baking sheet, just like this. I probably, since I did it this way, I probably don't need all this flour in the baking sheet. I probably could have just put it directly under the pan, but like I said, I'm learning as I go. So I'm not gonna bore you with doing them all. I'm just gonna do the exact same thing with the rest of all of these, and then after that, I think it's just basically the cooking that we're gonna do and finally see if these actually are any good. You guys, I'm so excited. It actually, so far, it worked. Here are my little noodle babies. There's 4 batches, little batches, and all I used was a rolling pin and a pizza cutter. And there they are. Now that I have the noodles, I have to see if they actually taste any good and cook the way they're supposed to. So I gotta get a saucepan, throw some water in there, a little bit of salt, bring it to a boil, then we'll throw them in there. Okay, so after boiling for about a couple minutes, these are the noodles. I think for next time I need to cut them a little bit thinner. They seem to like widen a little bit during the boiling process, so they're pretty wide for noodles. So I probably would just cut these like in half, each one in half. But the texture seems pretty okay, so we're gonna just try this out. Put just a little bit of butter for flavor. I'm gonna sprinkle some salt. I was gonna make like a whole like Alfredo sauce to try it out, but for now I just wanna make sure the noodles are just like the way they're supposed to be and not go crazy with like the sauce or whatever. I'll let that butter melt in there. Okay, so moment of truth. Sorry, this light is so obnoxious. Because it's dark and I have to turn the kitchen lights on, ignore the weird lighting. So we're gonna try this out and see how it actually tastes. Remember, the noodles are a little bigger than they should be. I didn't cut them thin enough. I will do that next time, but right now it's really just about the texture and the flavor. Happy with this. It's good. So the boiling, the directions said in a minute, but because I could see that they were thicker than what they probably should be, I left it in for a couple of minutes just to make sure it cooked all the way through and softened properly, and that seemed to work really well. This is good. I wish I had made them thinner so that I would have the full experience, but it came out really good flavor-wise, texture-wise, and you saw it was really easy. It's just you have to really, obviously, you have to follow directions pretty exact, otherwise it'll probably mess it up, but it's not hard. 3 ingredients to make your own noodles, and it made a lot. You know, for 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs, it made me 4 like bowls worth, and that's great. I'm gonna freeze them, like wrap them in saran wrap, put them in the freezer, and you can take them straight out of the freezer directly into boiling water, and then you have more noodles. So I'm super happy how these came out. Not bad for first time try. I will get better and perfect this. All right guys, so that's it for today. The pasta was pretty much, I have flour everywhere. The pasta was a success. I think it came out really good considering it was my first time and not having a pasta maker machine thing. It's really good. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me experiment in the kitchen, try a new recipe. I'm gonna leave the link to the blog for this recipe down below, and you guys can check that out if you're interested in looking into making your own pasta. But that's gonna be it for today. It was super fun. If you're not subscribed already and you wanna see more content like this or check out my other content on my channel, then subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I post videos. And you can follow me over on Instagram if you want to. I post daily there. So I'll let you guys go. I gotta actually get dinner going, and I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye.